Why, hello there. I'm Sin. We are in the Book Nook, and today we're going to talk about my past, present, and future of books, what I've finished, what I'm in the middle of, and what we're going to get into. So, recently, I have been reading the short stories in the book Night Shift by Stephen King, and I read the story Trucks, which, if you've ever seen the movie from back in the day called Maximum Overdrive, is what that movie is based on from that story. So, I'm reading that because I will be doing a podcast episode with Jason of Jason's Weird Reads, and I will put a link to his podcast down below. I'm not sure when that's coming out because we, as of this point in time when I'm filming this, haven't even filmed that yet. So at some point. But yeah, I'll link his podcast down below if you want to check that out. So that story is basically like all these trucks come to life and they start running over all the humans. But then at some point they realize that they're going to run out of gas and they need the humans to help gas them up in order for them to keep trucking or something like that. And it's so weird, just what if the machines came alive kind of story. I don't know. It was kind of campy. I enjoyed it. It felt like 80s horror, you know. I don't know if that's exactly when it was written, but it might have been. So that's what I finished recently was that short story. And I've kind of been like, that book I've been like pick up, put down, because I had read another short story in there that was another kind of like continuation of the Salem's Lot story that's in this book as well. Now, what I'm in the middle of, it's called The House on Watch Hill by Karen Marie Monning, and this is kind of like a gothic horror thriller, maybe. There's this woman named Zoe Gray, and she ends up inheriting this house that is down in Divinity, Louisiana. She has just lost her mother, and she has been struggling to pay the bills and is in a bunch of debt. And so she's going down there. And from the synopsis, I haven't even gotten to this part of the book yet because I'm not very far in. I've read like maybe 3 or 4 chapters at this point in time. In the synopsis of the book, it says she goes down there and she finds out like she has to live in this big old house, which is the house on Watch Hill, for 3 years before she'll see any of her inheritance whatsoever. And the thing about this house is apparently it seems to be haunted, and apparently there's also a very handsome Scottish groundskeeper. And I think there's going to be some smut in this book because like in the like was it the 3rd chapter, she hooks up with some dude from this restaurant she goes to, and I'm like, okay, so yeah, maybe some smutness, and that's cool. So gothic, a little smutty, weird, creepy old house that's haunted, and so far I'm enjoying it. It's very descriptive. It's very just starting to get into the atmosphere of it, and you're kind of like flashing back on these other characters that seem to have ties to this house that are maybe dead or are ghosts at this point, or I don't even know. But it seems like there's some witchiness going on that our main character Zoe just doesn't even know about. That I think she might come from like a family of witches or people who have powers of some sort that she has not unlocked yet or been privileged to. And also like her mom, for the first 15 years of Zoe's life, they had been like on the run from Zoe's dad. So there's like some weird stuff that was going on with that family, and I believe this house comes from that side of the family. So I don't even know. Bunch of stuff going on. Definitely holding my interest so far. I'm gonna read more of that later tonight. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have a standalone review for that coming in the future. So keep an eye out for that one. And then let me tell you what I'm gonna get into. Okay, so these are just 2 totally random ones I picked up at the library. I had not heard anything about these. They just caught my eye. I read the synopsis and then I thought, all right, that might be interesting to read. So the first one we have is called The Memory Collectors by Deet Meserve. Not sure if I'm saying that name right, but I apologize if that's wrong. But let me tell you about it. The Memory Collectors. What would you do if you could spend an hour in your past? 4 strangers in the beach town of Ventura, California are about to find out. Elizabeth aches for one more precious hour with her son who died in a senseless accident. Andy is desperate to find his first love who vanished after a whirlwind romance. Logan craves the rush of surfing and mountain climbing, yearning to reclaim the freedom he lost after a misstep landed him in a wheelchair. Brooke is looking for an hour of relief from the guilt of an unforgivable mistake. Enter Aeon Expeditions, the groundbreaking time travel invention of Mark Saunders, which allows some lucky clients the chance to spend an hour in their past. Even though Aeon's technology ensures time travel can't alter the future, All four clients, including Mark's ex-wife Elizabeth, yearn to revisit the hour that changed their lives forever. But when their hour extends beyond 60 minutes, they find themselves stranded in the past. As their paths intertwine unexpectedly, they unearth shocking secrets hidden in the shadows of their shared history. All their lives were shattered the same night on a secluded highway by the beach. As they delve into the hidden truths of that pivotal hour, a startling revelation emerges. They were not alone. Someone else was present, harboring deadly intentions. And okay, so recently I've read a few things about time travel. So I do like time travel books. And then I thought this one sounded really interesting because they get stuck and then they have this like weird interconnectedness with each other. What will happen? I don't know, but I'm kind of excited to read it because I really like the premise and I thought it sounded cool. So yeah, this is sci-fi fantasy. And yeah, I've been reading a lot of sci-fi fantasy this year, I feel like, which I'm enjoying a lot. It's been a little bit more fantasy this year than horror. I would say it's like 60 fantasy sci-fi, 40% horror, which is usually not the case, but this year it has been. So I don't know. It's kind of like I go with the flow of whatever I'm vibing with, you know? Is that a very hippie thing to say? Maybe. But that's how I read. I don't know. I don't like to be like, I'm reading this, and this. I must read this. I want to read something that, I'm going to enjoy. That's why also I'm such a freaking, I will DNF if I am not feeling a book for whatever reason. If I'm like, okay, this is just unenjoyable. Let's get it out of here. I used to give it like 50 pages, but sometimes I just am that like miserable after like 20 or 30. I'm like, okay, no, maybe we'll try again in the future, depending on the reasons I DNF. But anyway, let me tell you about the next one. Okay, so the next one is called Lay Your Armor Down by Michael Ferris Smith. And I kind of liked how the cover looked. Sorry, it's so shiny. I kind of liked how the cover, to me, it has almost like a post-apocalyptic vibe going on. Yeah, let's tell you about this one. One mysterious, extraordinary child draws 3 desperate souls into acts of mercy or mayhem. An old woman, riddled with dementia, walks off into the woods in the middle of the night. A light draws her to a campfire with 2 strange, dangerous men, one young and one old, who are plotting a crime of as yet indeterminate purpose. The 2 men have a job to do. They are hunting something precious, but have been told only you'll know it when you see it. When they arrive at an abandoned church cellar in the burned-out countryside, they find an answer they never could have predicted. Now the job feels dubious, one that'll surely bring them to ruin. Yet, if they go against orders, no step can be undone and nothing can be taken back. In spare and majestic prose, Lay Your Armor Down reduces the epic to its most elemental. It charts the course of several broken people, all outrunning danger's dark fingers, and all brought together for one last chance at redemption. Now, no idea what they find or what it is, but it sounds dark and desolate and weird. I don't know that it's horror. It could just be fiction, but I like the vibe the cover had, and I thought it sounded interesting and mysterious in the synopsis. So I thought I'd give this one a whirl. And it's not super long. Let's see. It's like 258 pages. So that's for me, that's on the shorter side. I tend to read stuff that seems to be around 400 pages quite often. So this one I should be able to get through pretty quickly. So yeah, we'll let you know how that one goes. So those are my reads that I picked from my book radar, where I just went in. I like to go to the news section at the library. There's a whole big wall they have of all the books, and I kind of just read the titles, I look at the covers. If it's giving off that vibe that maybe I want to check it out, pick it up, read the synopsis. Then if it sounds interesting, usually I read like the first paragraph or something of the book just to see like if I like the writing style. And then that usually gives me a pretty good clue that I may or may not like it. Most of the time ends up being pretty decent. Always there's usually some stinkers in there here and there, but that's how that's how it works. So what have you guys been getting into this week? Anything interesting? Anything strange or weird? Have you read anything outside of your normal comfort zone? Let me know down in the comments. Always curious what you're getting into and what you're reading. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.